exposed. The sinister secrets of my haunted Appalachian town forbidden after dark for 30 years. Amanda stood at the creaky front steps of their new home, heart racing as if warning her of unseen dangers. The air felt heavy, oppressive. All around her loomed tall, gnarled trees, their branches twisting like skeletal hands ready to snatch her and her daughter, Lily, from reality. Corners Creek wasn't like any other town. It was steeped in folklore, a dark shadow reflected in the warm smiles of its residents. Whispers danced on the wind, tales of children who ventured into the woods never returning, leaving nothing but echoes of their laughter behind with dusk approaching. The sun dipped behind the misty hills, painting the sky in ominous hues. Amanda shivered, a cold bead of sweat trickling down her back. She brushed it off as nerves, but she couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone. Peering into the windows of their new home, memories of her grandmother spilled forth like shadows against the walls, reminders of a life and legacy that felt both comforting and stifling. The following day, Mr. Hargrove, a hunched figure with a twinkle in his eye, lingered by their porch, asking too many questions. "Keep your girl close after dark," he cautioned, his voice gravelly, almost reverent. "You don't want to stray too far from the light, if you know what I mean." Amanda sensed the weight of his gaze, a mixture of pity and intrigue, but she scoffed internally. Old folks and their superstitions. Later that night, the house creaked as if it were breathing, an unsettling lullaby rocking her to sleep. But just as she closed her eyes, a chilling whisper floated through the cracks of the window, soft, alluring, beckoning. Mommy Lily's timid voice pierced through the murky air, pulling Amanda back from the edge of her restless thoughts. What was that? The whisper faded as if hiding from the inquiry. The weight of dread settled in her stomach while Amanda's mind raced. She tightened her grip on her daughter's hand, but as they turned toward the woods just beyond their yard, a mist wrapped around the trees like an ethereal cloak. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The nights grew longer, shadows deeper, the whispers surrounding their home like a predator stalking its prey. Amanda could feel eyes watching from the treeline, always watching. On one particular night, as screams of children echoed in the distance, she found a menacing symbol carved into the earth beside their porch, a mark of something ancient. Panic swelled in her chest, a primal alarm that fueled her search for answers. Lily's innocent laughter now sounded hollow through the whispers of the woods. Amanda knew something sinister was rooted in the town, a festering wound of ancient curses demanding sacrifice for each year of silence. Just when she thought she understood the darkness, a quiet knock at the door revealed a face from her grandmother's past, a ghost bringing a shattering storm of truths. The line between reality and the haunting folklore of Corners Creek blurred, whispering a chilling reminder. How far will a mother go to shield her child from the shadows waiting just beyond the trees? The wind howled through the trees, carrying unfathomable whispers that made the hairs on Amanda's arms stand on end. She had barely slept since their arrival, each night steeped in an unsettling restlessness. With every creak of the house, she felt the presence of something watching. As dawn broke, a thin veil of mist clung to the ground, and Lily, always curious, tugged at Amanda's sleeve. "Mommy, can we go play outside today?" Her eyes sparkled innocently, a stark contrast to the fear brewing within Amanda. "Just stay close to the house," Amanda replied, forcing a smile. As Lily dashed out into the yard, Amanda's heart sank. The forest loomed just beyond, a dark realm where nothing felt safe. She tried to shake off the paranoid thoughts, but the images of children lost in those woods haunted her mind, like shadows creeping into her soul. Every rustle made her jump, every unnatural sound froze her blood. It was a nagging feeling that something horrific awaited them, but she pushed it aside. She had to focus on keeping Lily safe. As the day wore on, Amanda caught snippets of the town's whispers. She ventured out to grocery shop, and the locals eyed her and her daughter with a mix of sympathy and foreboding. "You've got to watch her closely in those woods," an older woman warned, her voice tinged with fear. "They don't forget and they don't forgive." Amanda dismissed it, a feigned smile plastered on her face. She would not succumb to the town's fears. By dusk, she returned home, but the light felt different. It turned from a warm glow to a sinister shade, as if the sun was reluctant to leave. The woods seemed to ripple with anticipation, an unseen pulse beating just beneath the surface. Amanda's instincts screamed at her not to let Lily out of her sight. But the moment she turned, preparing dinner, the house fell eerily silent. She barely noticed when the front door creaked open. Panic surged through her veins when she called for Lily, and the only answer was the rustle of leaves outside. "Lily!" Her voice cracked with growing dread. The chill of the air wrapped around her throat like a noose. She bolted to the door, heart pounding, pulse racing. Outside, she stopped dead in her tracks. There stood Lily at the edge of the woods, a smile stretched across her face. She was staring into the depths of the trees, seemingly entranced. Shadows shifted around her as if alive. The whispers escalated into a sinister clamor. "Mommy, come look," Lily called, the invitation buoyant and haunting at once. "No, honey, come back," Amanda shouted, words choked by terror. She lunged forward, but a sharp pain shot through her chest like ice piercing her heart. As her hand reached for Lily, a figure emerged from the shadows, a tall, gaunt creature cloaked in mist. Its hollow eyes locked onto Amanda, reflecting ancient sorrows and dark hunger. The oppressive air thickened, and she felt the ground beneath her tremble, as if the very earth knew of her fear. "Leave her be," the creature rasped, the voice slithering through the air. "She belongs to the forest now." Amanda's world shattered. A frantic scream caught in her throat as she lunged toward her daughter. But the mist closed around Lily, engulfing her in a secret dance of shadows. "Lily!" Amanda screamed again, her voice fading into the night, swallowed by the consuming gloom. The ground trembled and the trees loomed, alive and mocking her despair. And as the last remnants of light faded, she realized Corners Creek hadn't been a sanctuary. It was a trap. Despair clawed at her insides as she stood frozen, a mother paralyzed by an unknown horror she couldn't comprehend. But in the depths of her terror, one thought remained: that she had to fight back. But what forces do you confront when the very earth beneath you is alive with the hunger of the lost? The darkness beckoned, and the question lingered like a whisper: was she strong enough to resist? Panic surged through Amanda as shadows deepened and wrapped around the yard. The figure of Lily was swallowed whole, and only the laughter echoed back to her, bright yet veiled in a sinister tone. Amanda's breath quickened, her senses igniting. Desperation clawed at her chest, and she staggered forward, heart racing, into the lingering twilight. "Lily!" she screamed, voice cracking, eyes darting between the trees. The whispers intensified, swirling around her like a tempest of ghosts, clawing at her sanity. The forest didn't feel empty, no. It felt alive, pulsing with unseen eyes observing, waiting. Suddenly, she felt the ground shift beneath her feet. The very earth seemed to breathe. Each heartbeat echoed in the silence, mocking her. "This isn't real, it can't be," she thought, fighting back the nausea rising in her throat. She staggered toward the trees, their grotesque forms bending in unnatural ways. The wind howled, filling the air with their eerie laughter, a chorus of lost children, their voices melding into one haunting wail. They sang her daughter's name, a lament that rang hollow, and Amanda went still. "Stop it," she shouted, infuriated by their taunts. Yet, the forest responded not with fear, but with shadowy tendrils that swayed gracefully, beckoning. The ancient trees loomed closer, exhaling a musty wind that felt heavy with centuries of suffering. Instincts compelled her to retreat, but an overwhelming force drew her deeper. Was it love or madness? It felt like both, a siren's call sending shivers down her spine and pulling her into its embrace. "Lily!" As she ventured further, the mist thickened, obscuring her path. Each step sank into dread, as though the ground itself conspired against her. The voices escalated, merging into a dissonant melody that promised revelation but delivered only despair. "I have to find her," she chanted while pushing through the dense fog. Images of Lilia's face swirled in her mind, igniting a flicker of resolve. With a fierce scream, she charged forward, hands reaching ahead, desperate to break through. The forest shuddered. Across an expanse of twisting roots and damp earth, a clearing emerged. It was a surreal sight. Ancient stones stood arranged in a chaotic circle, their surfaces etched with runes of a long-forgotten language. At the center, something dark writhed, an entity twisting in the moonlight. It had no shape, only a chilling presence that made the air around Amanda crackle with energy. "Lily," she whispered, dread settling deep in her core. And then, a movement, the shadows shifted, and there she was. Lily stood beyond the circle, her innocent smile replaced by something else unknowing, an invitation that glistened in her eyes. "Mommy, come play," she chimed, voice echoing like the enchanting calls of the woods, but it felt wrong, so wrong. Clenching her fists, Amanda called out, "No, this is a trick." But the heart in her chest ached as if it were fighting against her. The shadows within the circle ebbed and flowed, hungry, urging her to enter. "Leave her," Amanda shouted, feeling raw terror fuse with a burning desire to protect her child. "She is not yours." The air vibrated with anger as the entity surged, the shadows swirling closer, suffocating the way back home. "Once you step inside," the whispers teased, each word a promise of loyalty and belonging. Amanda felt a weight settle around her, the forest challenging her resolve. "What will you do, Amanda? Will you fight the darkness to save the light?" A sudden chill surrounded her. Time seemed suspended. She could choose to step into that circle and join her daughter, or turn away and preserve what little hope remained. But how has she been deceived in the past? What horrors awaited those who ventured too far into the darkness? A scream welled up, but this time it would be different. Daylight faded, and Amanda stood on the precipice of a nightmare. Gripping her heart, she hesitated, torn by the choice that could decide everything. "How far are you willing to go?" the forest hissed. The question hung in the air, and for a heartbeat, the silence screamed louder than her terror. Would she step into the abyss or fight against it? In that moment, the branches twisted closer, and she felt their pull. But could love overpower the darkness lurking just beyond her sight? The shadows pulsed. They licked the ground beneath Amanda's feet, threatening to engulf her completely. "No," she shouted again, her voice raw, cutting through the chilling air. "I won't let you take her." With one last look at the twisted, grotesque eyes of the trees, she took a cautious step back. The moment her foot broke the line of the circle, a roar erupted from the entity inside. The whispers, once a tempest, turned into a deafening roar. Echoes of anguish ripped from the very heart of the forest, clawing at her ears. They pressed down on her, a heavy weight of sorrow mixed with rage. "Mommy, please." Lilia's voice rang softer now, but still tinged with that peculiar sweetness that sent shivers racing down Amanda's spine. It was like honey mixed with poison. "Come home." Amanda clenched her fists tighter, feeling the jagged edges of her resolve. "This isn't home," she screamed back, but her throat burned from the effort. The shadows groaned in disappointment, responding like a battery of whispers that created a thunderous wave crashing against her sanity. Each breath felt heavier, oppressive. The trees leaned in closer, their branches now entwined higher above her, forming a tangled web that felt alive like a predator coiling around its prey. "Leave her alone," she cried, eyes darting between Lilia's figure and the dark mass that threatened to engulf her. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to flee back into the safety of daylight and forget this twisted nightmare. But the image of her daughter drew her, anchors of memory and love amidst the throes of terror. The ground trembled beneath her, as if the very earth shared in her torment. Clouds of mist rolled in thick waves, swirling around her legs like icy fingers. And suddenly, She felt the tug again, the pull of the forest, the call of the shadows. It felt familiar, like a soft embrace promising acceptance. What's happening? Amanda wondered, her breath coming in frantic spurts. You're almost one of us. The voices creaked, a chorus of forlorn cries melding together. Just step inside. The pain ends here. Join us. Amanda, a vision flashed before her. An endless void of despair, of faces she couldn't recognize, trapped yet eager, begging for escape. Tears streamed down her face, a potent mixture of fear and realization. This wasn't just about her daughter. It was about an entire lineage of souls lost, consumed one by one, until nothing remained but whispers and shadows. Get away from her, she roared, grounding herself, legs rooted firmly in the living carpet of the forest floor. You one take me, and you definitely one take Lily. The laughter echoed back, cascading like a waterfall of madness. The shadows, flaring with anger, swirled violently, lashing out at Amanda and beckoning Lily ever closer. You're too late. She is ours. The air thickened, growing heavy with despair. Amanda felt it crush her frame, as if each breath was fought for, every heartbeat a rebellion. No, she screamed one last time, voice breaking, pouring every ounce of will into that single word. The forest shuddered. The trees screamed as if reacting to her defiance. In an instant, danger clawed into reality, echoing a warning too profound to miss. Mommy Lily's voice turned sharp, pleading but dark. Something thick and black surged from the chaos, wrapped around her ankles, drawing her close to the threshold of that cursed circle. For a brief moment, Amanda hesitated, fear coiling in her belly. Will you sacrifice yourself to save her, or will you let her go? The question, penetrating through the fog of horror, hung heavy between them. Time stopped, the forest stilling as if it held its breath. Could she really push through the darkness, shatter its wicked grip, or would she seal both their fates in this nightmare? As the darkness clawed hungrily, she felt the thin line between love and despair bend, and then, with a surge of primal fear, Amanda lunged forward, determined to break the grasp of the shadows while calling out for her daughter. I will save you, Lily. Yet the forest wasn't done with her yet. Just then, a new wave of shadows surged from the depths, revealing what lay behind the ominous veil, a truth that made Amanda's heart stop in horror. What if Lily wasn't just lost? What if she had already given herself willingly to the dark? The forest quaked, the pulse of the earth thundering beneath her as the echoes of screams transformed into laughter once more, blurring the boundary between her last decision and an even darker fate. Amanda plunged forward, the shadows latching on with a vice grip, relentless in their hunger for her surrender. The cold tendrils tightened, each finger of darkness sending icicles of panic slicing through her veins. She could barely think. Her heart hammered against her chest, an erratic drumbeat of fear that drowned out all else. Lily, she cried, desperation spilling from her lips. But there was no answer. Only the haunting laughter, the unmistakable sound of something sinister reveling in her suffering. The trees loomed closer, their twisted branches groaning under a weight that felt both alive and malevolent. She willed herself to focus. The image of her daughter, was it truly Lily's voice anymore? The sweetness was tainted, laced with something foul. Was that how the darkness worked? First, they took a piece of her heart and then replaced it with something darker, something sinister? Mommy, come home, the whisper echoed again. But this time, it felt like an invitation, an urging that threatened to tear her apart. Amanda stumbled, fighting against the pull. She wanted to shake it off, to deny the call of the forest, yet it threaded through her mind like smoke, sinister and intoxicating. There were voices everywhere now, each one beckoning her, merging into a cacophony that drowned her reason. Join us. Let go. Embrace what you fear. With each oppressive word, the shadows closed in. Amanda grasped at memories, fighting to keep them alive, the laughter they shared, the nights spent cuddled under blankets watching movies, the way Lily would peek from under the bed to scare her. Those were the moments that kept her grounded. "You are stronger than this," she screamed, a life raft thrown into the churning ocean of despair. The laughter faltered, just for a moment, but the shadows recoiled and surged forward, more furious than before. Anger boiled just under her skin, igniting a flicker of a fight. "Enough!" she bellowed, and with that, she yanked her foot free from the greedy grass, propelling herself towards Lily. "I won't let you take my daughter." As she lunged, everything shifted. The ground beneath her trembled violently, and the very air seemed to crackle with electricity. Suddenly, the forest lit up, bursts of light threading through the shadows that danced around her. It was raw and chaotic, and with it came a flicker of hope, however faint it felt. But hope is a dangerous weapon in a place like this. The amassing shadows recoiled, forming into grotesque shapes, faces, figures twisted in pain and anguish, shadows of those lost before her. Eyes glimmered with the ferocity of long-buried rage. "You think you can save her? You think you can fight us?" One hissed, its voice dripping with malice. Amanda felt her gut twist. It was true. What if this wasn't just about her? What if Lily needed to be freed from something much deeper than the forest? The realization clawed at her mind as the figures danced around her. "Mommy, help me!" Lily's voice broke through again, more desperate, now layered with the darkness that had begun to take hold. That was it. With everything she had, Amanda lunged forward once more. She felt the tremor in her knees as cold terror wrapped around her heart. Grabbing at the air, she aimed for Lily. Would their bond be strong enough? Would love be a match for the shadows? But as she reached out, a cold hand grasped her wrist, and she turned to find a shadowy figure standing behind her, grinning with a malevolence that carved deep into her soul a twisted replica of her daughter. "Do you really want her back?" it taunted, eyes glowing eerily against the dark backdrop of the cursed trees. A flicker of dread shot through Amanda as the shadows tightened their grip on her, reveling in her uncertainty. "Make your choice," it whispered. Would she fight against the encroaching darkness, claiming Lily regardless of the cost? Or was surrender the only way to save her child? Fear curled inside her, growing like a coiling serpent, as she weighed the life of her daughter against her very soul, the forest holding its breath for her. Answer. Amanda's world spun. The twisted shadow of her daughter loomed before her, mocking every ounce of hope she clung to. Its face was a sick parody, the smile stretching too wide, eyes shimmering with wicked glee. "Do you really want her back?" it taunted again, the words slithering into her mind like poison. The hold on her wrist tightened, bone deep and unyielding. She fought against it, but a part of her hesitated. Was this really Lily? The true Lily? "Get away from me!" she screamed, jerking her arm, trying to shake off the sinister grip. The darkness pulsed around her as more shadows swirled in, echoing her fears, each voice a serpentine hiss in her ear. "I can rescue her," it whispered, breathless and tainted with malice. "But you must let go. Embrace your fear," she gasped, frozen for a heartbeat as vile images flashed before her. Her baby girl trapped in a web of darkness, cries muffled by the oppressive twilight, face contorted in terror. Memories of Lily's laughter felt like shards of glass, each one a painful stab in her heart. "I won't let you take her." Amanda's voice was hoarse, the determination in her words fueled by the love for her daughter. She wrenched her arm free, momentum carrying her forward. The shadow lurched, caught off guard for the briefest moment. "Foolish mother," it hissed, flinging a hand that morphed into countless writhing limbs cascading towards Amanda. They clawed at the air, reaching for her, wrapping around her feet like vines, pulling her down into the abyss. Amanda's breath quickened, fear coiling tightly around her heart. She fought against the pull, using her strength to tear away from the shambling limbs. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, she pushed off the ground and lunged forward again, grasping into the void more fiercely than ever. "Lily!" she cried, each syllable slicing through the dark. "I'm coming!" The forest roared, branches clash, thunder rumbling overhead. A flash of light erupted, and for a moment, the shadows scattered. She caught a glimpse of the real Lily, standing terrified among the trees, eyes wide and hands extended. Hope flared like wildfire in Amanda's chest, igniting every thread of despair. But the laughter returned, louder than before, twisting the world around her. The sinister figures closed in, their eyes gleaming with hatred. "Your bond is weak," they snarled, voices layered in contempt. "We've taken so many before. She belongs to us now." "No!" Amanda screamed. The shadows pressed closer, the air thick with despair. She could feel her soul teetering on the edge of darkness. With every ounce of strength, she reached out once more toward Lily, who trembled and shrieked in fear as shadows encroached upon her. Deep within Amanda, a primal roar broke free. "Not today!" she shrieked, the scream cutting through the laughter like a knife. Every ounce of her love spilled into that word, and at that moment, the forest seemed to shudder with her defiance. The shadows hesitated, their forms wavering. She surged forward, fueled by raw terror but also by the love that was stronger than any darkness. They recoiled, momentarily confused, and as they did, she sprang into the clearing where Lily stood. But what awaited her was not the embrace she yearned for. As she reached for her daughter, shadows poured from every direction, surrounding them. "I warned you," the shadowy replica of Lily whispered, and then darkness folded around them, concealing the world in its suffocating grip. Amanda felt herself being pulled back, the forest vibrating with sinister energy. What remained of the light dimmed, leaving only a stillness laden with dread and echoing whispers that beckoned her to stay. "Help me, Mommy," came Lily's voice again, thick with anguish, but now mixed with an echo of the shadows the confusion made manifest. "Look closer," they coaxed, voices weaving hauntingly between faint laughs and cries. "What do you really see? Was it truly Lily?" In that suffocating moment, Amanda had to decide. Would she plunge deeper into the dark, facing whatever sins or truths it harbored? Or would she find a way out, risking both their lives in the process? The shadows danced expectantly, hunger glistening in their void-like eyes. The forest pressed in, closing the distance around her. And as her heart raced against the silence that followed, Amanda realized she had to make her choice. And soon before the darkness swallowed them whole, Amanda felt the pull of the shadows tightening around her like a noose. Panic surged through her veins. She could almost hear Lily's voice mingling with the insidious laughter of the darkness swarming them. Shadows twisted and turned, shaping themselves into grotesque figures that laughed mockingly, echoing her worst fears. "Mommy, don't let them take me." The plea pierced through her heart, yet Lily's voice seemed laced with something unrecognizable, something that chilled her bones. With every ounce of desperation, Amanda clenched her fists, fighting against the shadows that clawed at her. "I see you. You're not my daughter." The shadows froze momentarily, as if her words struck a chord. "But you want to believe," they hissed, their voices slithering through the darkness. "You want to reclaim her. You must trust us." "No," she screamed, her voice raw. "I won't fall for your lies." Dread settled like a stone in her stomach as more figures poured from the depths of the blackness. They circled her and Lily, closing the space, their malevolent eyes gleaming with hunger. Each whisper they spoke muddled her thoughts. "Save her. She suffers." Amanda's gaze darted to Lily, who stood trembling, shadows twisting around her like serpents. Tore at Amanda's soul. "You have to fight. We can get out of this together, Lily." Lily swayed, her face momentarily revealing a flicker of fear. Then the twisted smile returned. "But what if I'm not really here, Mommy? What if I've already gone?" Regret dripped from Lily's voice, a haunting echo of lost innocence. "No." Amanda's heart sank into an abyss of sorrow. She wasn't just fighting for her daughter. She was battling for the very essence of who Lily had been. The shadows tightened their grip, dragging Amanda toward the ground. "Every bond has a price, Amanda," they whispered in unison, delight dancing in their voices. "What will you give to save her?" Realization smacked her hard. They wanted her pain. They fed on it. Memories of Lily's laughter, her first steps, soft cuddles, they all struck her like a tidal wave. Seized by grief, Amanda roared, a guttural sound that echoed through the forest, drowning out the sinister voices momentarily. The shadows hesitated again, and Amanda lunged for her daughter, desperation clutching her heart. Lily's form wavered, flickering between the child she adored and the shadow that wore her face. "Mommy!" The scream was soaked with anguish, but Amanda recognized the truth amidst the chaos. "Help me! I'm here!" Amanda shouted fiercely, stretching out a trembling hand. "Hold on to me! We can break this!" Suddenly, the space around them erupted in a torrent of wind, the trees shaking violently as if reacting to their struggle. The darkness shrieked, angry at Amanda's defiance, but she pressed on, heart hammering in her chest. In a violent sweep, shadows lashed out, clawing at her, trying to wedge between her and Lily. "You're nothing but memories. You don't own her." Amanda gasped, the words pouring from her like an incantation. A crack of thunder awoke a brilliance in the shadows, revealing glimpses of twisted faces contorting with rage. They lunged toward her, but at that moment, Amanda's love exploded outward, a raw energy that broke through the veil of darkness, lighting the path before them. Lily's face cleaved through the chaos, her real daughter breaking through with terror lacing her eyes. "Mommy! Let me go!" "Never!" Amanda shouted, taking a step forward. Yet the shadows shrieked, swirling around them, ready to reclaim their prize. "Make a choice," they snarled, a cacophony of voices reverberating through the air as the forest imploded with dark magic. "Or lose her forever." Could the answer lie in her willingness to face the truth? Doubt gnawed at her insides, twisting like a knife. Fingers brushed, an electric pulse stitched through the air, binding them for a fleeting moment. Would the truth reveal salvation or lead her deeper into deception? Suddenly, a ground-shaking roar echoed through the trees, pulling Amanda's focus. Something was moving in the darkness, something massive, and ancient. What was that? Lily gasped, fear igniting in her voice. And before Amanda could respond, the shadows shrank back, revealing a figure that loomed larger than any nightmare she had faced. With a rising voice, it summoned the darkness, ready to make its claim. Now Amanda had to confront not just the shadows but the essence of grief itself. What would it demand? What choice would she make? The answer hung in the air, heavy and palpable, and the darkness trembled with anticipation. The figure surged from the depths of the darkness, towering and grotesque, its body a writhing mass of shadow and malice. It loomed over Amanda and Lily, the air thick with a palpable chill that made Amanda's skin crawl. The eyes, piercing and hollow, locked onto her with an unyielding gaze that seemed to dissect her very soul. "Foolish woman," it growled, the voice rumbling like thunder, echoing through the trembling trees. "You think love is enough to save her? You are blind to the true price." Amanda felt bile rise in her throat. Her heart hammered like a frantic clock, ticking down the seconds until her worst fears would be unleashed. "What do you want?" she shouted defiantly, trying to push past the terror gripping her. The figure swayed slightly, reveling in her fear. "What I want is simple. I want your sorrow, your despair. Only then will the bond be severed. Only then will she be free." Lily's terrified face shimmered like a candle flickering in the storm, teetering between hope and despair. "Mommy," she whimpered, an echo of her former self, battling against the shadow's grip. "Don't listen to it." The shadows recoiled at Lily's defiance, momentarily losing their grip. Amanda seized the chance, racing toward her daughter. "I won't give you anything. You can't take my love." "Love?" The creature laughed, a sound that sent shivers down Amanda's spine. "You cling to it like a child clings to a toy. Love cannot fill the void of loss." With a sweep of its arm, the shadows surged forward like a black wave crashing against her. Amanda stumbled back, but she steadied herself, focusing on Lily, whose form flickered, wavering between the child she adored and the hope-drenched shadow that desired to consume her. "We're stronger than this," Amanda shouted. "Remember all the good times. Remember the times we danced in the kitchen." "Mommy, it's too late for that." Lily's voice was cracking, each word laced with pain. "I can't hold on much longer. You have to fight for me. Fight? Fight how? Amanda's mind raced. She felt like a puppet, dangling on invisible strings pulled by the shadows. The air was thick with tension, each breath seeming to echo louder than the last. Every bond has a price, the creature mocked, trailing off as if savoring the weight of its own words. What will it be, Amanda? Your fears or her freedom? Amanda closed her eyes, memories flooding through her, a fierce love woven together with the anguish of loss. I would trade anything for you, Lily, she cried, desperate to break through. Then face the truth. The creature drew closer, its voice dripping with malice. The truth of what you've lost. Lightning crackled in the distance, illuminating the dark figure for an instant. Amanda's heart seized as she caught a glimpse of its true form. It was not just a shadow. It was a part of her grief made manifest, every sad moment coiling around her like a serpent. No, you're wrong, she countered, shaking her head. You are not my grief. You're just a monster. Thunder exploded overhead, adrenaline surging through her veins. Realization struck. She didn't need to succumb to despair. She needed to embrace it, face it, fill it with every memory. Lily, hold on to me, she yelled, a determination blossoming amidst the chaos. We can do this together. We've faced the dark before. In that moment, the shadows recoiled back, startled by the resurgence of Amanda's strength. Was it working? Or was this just another trap? Through the haze, Lily's eyes glimmered with renewed hope. Mommy, before she could finish, a deafening roar erupted again, shaking the ground, drowning out even their thoughts. The forest trembled as something larger than life descended from the blackness. Are you ready to lose her to the dark forever? The creature hissed, voice rasping dangerously close. There was no turning back now. Amanda felt her body trembling, a mix of fear and determination urging her forward. I will fight for you, Lily. The shadows chittered in fury, and the air thickened. Everything hung in an agonizing balance. Would this be her stand, or would the darkness swallow them? Whole, as an eye-popping blur of movement surged from the depths, Amanda braced herself for what was to come. The truth was a sharp blade. Would it slice through the darkness or cut deeper into her soul? Who would prevail in this battle against despair? What lay hidden in the heart of the shadows, waiting to be revealed? The creature lunged, a nightmarish silhouette breaking free from the fog. Amanda felt an overwhelming rush of dread as it advanced, tendrils of darkness stretching with terrifying speed, wrapping around her legs like chains forged from her own fears. No, she screamed, pushing back with every ounce of her will. The shadows hissed, pulling tighter. Feel it, the creature bellowed, its voice a twisted symphony of mockery. Sorrow is here, Amanda, every loss clawing at your heart. You think love is a weapon? It's nothing but a whisper against the scream of despair. Lily's figure flickered, caught in the crossfire of their battle. Mommy, I'm scared, she cried, her voice growing faint. The shadows were pulling her closer, inch by inch. Amanda's heart raced. Stay with me, sweetheart. Hold on. She felt the weight of the creature's gaze upon her, cold and judging. It fed off her terror, growing even more monstrous with every heartbeat. Mommy, Lily's voice broke, revealing the depths of her fear. Why can't I be with you? Why is it taking me? The truth trembled in Amanda's throat, a shard of ice. Because it's a lie, she shouted, finding the strength to believe her own words. You'll always be with me. No darkness can take that away. The creature shrieked, its form pulsating with rage. Stupid woman, deny it all you want. Your past is a prison. I'll feast on your sorrow until you plead for release. With a primal scream, Amanda broke free from the shadow's hold, forcing herself forward. Felt like swimming through mud. Every step was a battle. Every ounce of energy felt fleeting. Still, she pressed on. Lily, remember the stories I told you? Remember the light? She shouted through the chaos, recalling the countless nights they spent together under the stars. Think of all the love we shared, all the laughter. Lily's face began to shimmer, the shadow transforming, rising against the oppressive darkness. Mommy, I remember. Hope ignited in her eyes, flickering like a candle in a storm. You have to fight. You have the light, Amanda urged, tears spilling down her cheeks. As if fueled by her words, the shadows faltered, recoiling just long enough for Amanda to reach her daughter. With trembling hands, she grasped Lily's, feeling the warmth seep through a tether to the life they had built. We can break this together, Lily. A furious wind howled around them, threatening to tear them apart. No, you'll pay for this defiance. The creature's eyes flared with scorching fury. Amanda braced herself, ready for its next move. The darkness coiled around them, tightening like a noose. The air crackled, the energy between them palpable. Would their bond withstand this trial? Then, as a bolt of light streaked down from above, illuminating the shadows, Amanda saw it, a glint of hope within the darkness. Face it with me, she cried, grounding herself against the creature's howl. Remember the laughter, the joy, how love can cast out fear. With that, the shadows shivered, their grip beginning to loosen. Behind the creature, an enormous form writhed, morphing into a swirl of lost souls, a vision of the past haunting their world. No, the creature roared. Desperate, Amanda pushed against the darkness, summoning every ounce of her strength. Together, she yelled, pulling Lily close. We face it together. With a deafening crack, the ground beneath them erupted as the wave of shadows crashed against their bond. For a fleeting moment, silence hung in the air, everything suspended, like the calm before a storm ready to burst. Are you with me? Amanda asked. I'm with you, Lily shouted back, her voice steady, cutting through the chaos. And then the figure exploded in a blast of black and gold, shadows lifting as light surged forth. But amidst the blinding spectacle, darkness lingered, shifting like smoke. Do you think this is over? The creature hissed, voice now a haunting whisper that shattered the moment's triumph. What will it take to end this? Amanda demanded, fury igniting inside her. But before it could answer, the shadows began to swirl, forming a vortex around them that threatened to engulf everything once more. As Amanda struggled against the pull, she could feel the uncertainty creeping back in. Was this only a temporary victory? Mommy, hold on, Lily cried, fear creeping back into her voice. Hold on to me. With one last poetic surge, they clung to each other, hearts synchronized in their pulse of resistance against the encroaching darkness. What awaited them at the heart of the shadow? The answers lay just beyond, flickering on the edge of their path as they grasped for survival. They had to face the truth, but could they win against it? The darkness hypnotized Amanda as it swirled around her, a tempest of shadows and fears echoing endlessly. But she held tight to Lily's hand, their bond the only light in the suffocating blackness. We're not alone, she whispered, feeling a strength rising from deep within. The shadows retreated slightly, sensing the weight of their resolve. Mommy, what do I do? Lily's voice trembled, forged of innocence but laced with growing darkness. Amanda felt her heart ache as the shadows wrapped tighter around them, every gasp a reminder of the threat they faced. Just then, a surge of wind crashed through the clearing, carrying echoes of laughter and love. The memories of their happy moments swirled around them, reigniting hope. Those moments matter, Lily, Amanda shouted over the rising winds. They're stronger than any shadow. Gripping her hand firmly, she felt warmth escape from her heart and flow into Lily's, powering their bond with every cherished memory. Suddenly, the air thickened with a piercing, guttural shriek from the dark entity. Enough! It roared, its voice vibrating the very ground. Tendrils of despair launched toward them, but Amanda felt something shift inside her. The love she held for Lily glowed fiercely, piercing through the veil of shadows that threatened to consume them. Amanda let go. The creature taunted, weaving through its seductive darkness. Surrender to the void. Plunge deep into despair. But she shook her head in defiance, pushing past fear. She realized they wouldn't just face the darkness, they had to embrace their light. No, we choose love. We choose life. The shadows snarled, twisting and writhing. But for every inch they advanced, Amanda pushed back too. "We're not broken. We're not lost," she shouted. As the shadows writhed in fury, fragments of them peeled away, revealing hints of light that nestled into every heart. Mommy Lily echoed, her voice steadying. "I want let go." She squeezed Amanda's hand tighter. The tenderness of that grip grounded both of them amid the chaos. Time seemed to hold its breath, the world suspended in anticipation. Together, they channeled their memories, building a bridge toward freedom. With one final roar, Amanda tore herself from the grip of despair around her feet, jettisoning all hesitation. She hurled herself toward the shadows. "Our bond is brighter than your darkness," she bellowed. The scream of the darkness intensified, turning into a cacophony of sorrow that rattled the trees. The light embedded deep within them ignited, a blazing fire fueled by every ounce of love they had shared. The shadows evaporated in the warmth, crackling like paper, the echoes of lost souls swirling away into the fabric of the AI are in a furious clash. The creature lurched back, its shape becoming indistinct, dissolving into wisps as Amanda and Lily surged forth, hand in hand. "We did it!" Amanda cried joyfully as they broke free from the encroaching shadows. The trees settled, no longer snarling with anger but whispering soft melodies, as if cradling them beneath warm, golden rays. The sun ignited the sky with hues of hope. Mommy Lily gasped, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. "You found me." As they fell to the ground, the forest around them felt less like a prison and more like a sanctuary. The laughter of children echoed far away, no longer twisted but pure and melodic. The bone-chilling grip of the woods lifted, the shadows dispersing like scattered leaves caught fleetingly in a breeze. Amanda hugged Lily tight, heart soaring with every joyful breath. Always, she promised, the warmth of their connection radiant and palpable. Darkness might return, she'd learned, but so would their light. And as they made their way home, the sun began to rise, washing away the uncertainties of night. The air was crisp, alive with the promise of a new day, each step feeling lighter than the last. She could hear the whispers of Corners Creek, though now they were different, tinged with warmth and acceptance. The shadows would always linger in the town's stories, but they would not define them. Finally standing at the threshold of their home, Amanda felt a sense of triumph. They were safe. They had faced the darkness and won. A wave of gratitude washed over her as she realized how far they'd come as they stepped inside. Amanda turned to Lily, beaming radiant joy. "We're going to be okay." And that was enough. Don't forget now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. Be a true fan. Instantly share this with at least 5 friends who need to see this epic finale. Don't wait even one more second, there's always more unbelievable content waiting just for you.